Josh, our microphones are activated, so careful what you say.
Ooh. Hi, David.
Hi, Josh.
How are you?
Good. I've been instructed to eat my microphone so it doesn't cut off today.
Yeah, last month as we did some JWJ, you started cutting in quite a bit and cutting out quite a bit. So please eat your mic. I even spent money on a good new cable for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Happy July.
Yeah, you too, brother. You know, I was looking back historically. This is 3 months in a row where I've gotten a haircut the morning of a Java with Josh episode.
Ooh.
So I don't know if it's like a subconscious thing. I'm like, I gotta look good on camera, or it's just kind of the way the schedules work out. But
you do look good.
Thank
and
you.
We're going to talk about you looking good here in a second.
Oh.
But, you know, I actually pick out ties for Java with Josh. And we have a good client, a friend of mine who's been a client for a long time, is Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob retired last year. Now, I always envied Dr. Bob's ties. They were super colorful. He was an ophthalmologist, so I think he put the color on so people could see him when they were sitting in his chair. But when he retired, he said he had no need for the ties, so he brought me this like shoebox full. I mean, there had to have been 100 bright color ties, and I picked out like 10 of them. And I know whenever I'm going live on camera, Dr. Bob, if you are watching this, this is one of yours. And
Dr. Bob tie
did it especially for you. So,
and I think Dr. Bob brought Steve some shoes a few weeks ago.
Yeah, he's outfitting our whole office apparently.
Although for me, there's no hope, so he's not even going to try to outfit me.
Yeah, he sees this beautiful Swedish Fish shirt that you have there, the red, white, the 4th of July Swedish Fish
Very
shirt.
patriotic. Did I wear this last episode too? That I should be more conscious of, because
especially when we're talking about a very similar thing to last episode. The big beautiful bill, Trump's big beautiful bill, got signed into law on July 4th. Yep. You're wearing that in honor of this. Yeah. I love it. And we're actually going to talk about that again. Even though last month we talked about it, now we have a lot more things that we can actually say with certainty, which is kind of nice to be able to do. But before we do that, I have a few things I like to kind of reminisce about what we do here and some personal things. Last weekend, I got to go to my happy place. I grew up with my parents having
Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut, yeah, book it.
Yes.
We'd read enough stories. We got to get a free pizza.
Oh, memories.
But I went up to my parents' house in Southwest Michigan, up in Sawyer, and you've been there before. You know that this is my getaway, my happy place. And we got to take the kids up there for this weekend. We had a wonderful weekend out there. Zach's sitting on the beach enjoying an orange crush that Grandma found for him. And that's Alex and Maggie out on the mat in Lake Michigan. And it's always a special time when we go up there. It's always kind of that fun escape. You're 90 minutes away, but you feel like you're in a whole new world. And I come back just energized and revived and super excited to talk about the big, beautiful bill.
You know, that used to be Door County for me until I found out there's a chance that your ancestors own the entire county, and I just felt oppressed and never went back.
Bretl is not a common last name unless you're in Door County. You open up that phone book, and there are like hundreds of us.
It's crazy.
And the rumor has it that my grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather, lost a good chunk of Door County in a poker match. So now we live down here in Elmhurst.
That's why you don't gamble. Maybe it's just kind of like,
that could be why I hate gambling.
That could be it. Yeah.
So, before we go too far, I do have some compliance stuff that we have to talk about, especially today. Everything we're mentioning is for informational purposes only. Please do not take this as specific advice. Today, more than ever, what we're going to go through is very fresh information, and there's going to be a lot coming out on this. So please make sure you know how this applies to your own situation. If you're a client of ours, we will make sure that happens. If you're not a client of ours, either talk to your own advisor or we'd be happy to talk to you and at least make sure you are pointed in the right direction. So before we go too far, though, I also have something else fun. I don't know, every morning on my iPhone, I wake up and I love, one of my favorite features they have is the pictures memories. I don't know if you can see that there, but they have memories of all the pictures you take on your iPhone. Yeah. And I love scrolling through them. The kids like doing it and all that stuff. But recently, I've gotten some interesting picture memories that have popped up.
Such as?
Such as you.
Oh!
You can see on the left, this one came in and says, on this day. Like, it was so memorable that it had to say, on this day 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then also, you can see the big difference. You've lost a lot of weight in the last couple years. And the one on the right with your family there, your sisters and their husbands, you can see that was prior to you losing all that weight. So
It looks like I ate 8 Jimmy John sandwiches before that photo was taken. Woo, boy.
So you are so important in my life that you come up with my picture memories at the same time as my kids do, which is always fun.
I'm flattered. Thanks, Josh. That's kind of the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me in a while.
Yeah, well, I'm glad someone could be sweet to you.
Let's put that on a Hallmark card.
Let's get going with a few other things because we got a lot of really fun stuff to talk about. Do you want to explain what the heck this is and why we're here?
Yeah, Java with Josh. So we, our last month's video was our most popular on YouTube. And so I'm imagining a lot of you watching this right now, maybe you're first watching it live. You don't know what the heck Java with Josh is. Java with Josh. This is Josh. This is Java. Cheers. Every month, we try to do like the second Wednesday of every month. Josh and our team of advisors will sit down and come up with a topic that is relative and timely for retirees and those soon to retire, a financial topic. And then we discuss it live on YouTube for about 30 to 45 minutes. And we'll even send some follow-up material afterwards. But it is a way for the world to get more Josh Bretl in their lives because we could all use more Josh. But it's just another way for us to let you know what's going on in the wonderful world of finances in retirement. That was a tongue twister.
So stumbled you on that one.
Yeah, you did.
Upcoming shows here. We have our next couple of months here, August 13th on that Wednesday, and then Wednesday, September 11th. And our Halloween show, which is always David's favorite show because he comes dressed up like he is now, but with ghoulish stuff, is coming up on October 15th. So I hope you can join us for those. Also, a few things coming up here. If you have not tuned into the Own Your Retirement radio show, I highly encourage you to do. My co-host Mark Elliott and I have a show very different than this, same topics, but very different conversation styles, Saturday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. on WLS 890 AM. If you can't listen to it live, we do have the podcast available for you. You can download on any of your favorite podcast episodes. So I encourage people to listen to that as well.
Yeah, and going back, so a lot of you are watching this for the first time live. We hate sounding like your typical YouTuber, but a lot of you found last month's show because people liked it and subscribed. Most likely they hit like, and then YouTube's like, oh, people like this video. So you may have found it because other people liked it. So if you like what Josh has to say here in the next half hour, please hit that thumbs up button. It goes a long way, and it gives me job security. So
next, one of my favorite topics that I do live presentations on. In fact, I did one last night. I'm doing one again tonight out in Arlington Heights. But coming up here in August, we're going to one of our favorite locations, the Wheaton Community Center, August 19th and 20th. If you're already on Social Security, if you know somebody's going to be on Social Security is an integral part to people's retirement. And I highly encourage you to attend if you have not. It's a really, I'm going to brag here, but I think I make Social Security interesting the same way I'm about to make taxes interesting for people here.
You're here.
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 All right. Dave, the last thing we have to talk about is our mission statement of FSR Wealth. And I'm going to let you take that away here.
Oh, what? Why you put, what? Okay.
All right, I'll take it away.
You can't just throw this on me. Yeah, I helped you make this mission statement, but it sounds better coming from you.
What Dave doesn't fully appreciate is how much I rely on him for stuff like this, and I am known to just throw things in people's laps like that. But actually, our mission statement we used to say was tax-focused retirement planning, and I've told the story a few times in the past, but we've said that for years and years and years. What sets us apart from other financial advisory firms is our ability to perform tax-focused retirement planning. And Dave, who knows me really well, we've been friends since high school, and he pulls me aside after working here about a year. He goes, I've learned a lot, and tax-focused retirement planning isn't your mission statement. It's just a part of what you do. He goes, I have seen you change people's lives, which is really cool. It's nice to have your friend tell you that, especially when he usually just makes fun of you. And he says, what you do is much bigger. And he goes, you made retirement for people really special. And so we changed our mission statement at FSR Wealth Strategies, and we're really proud of this. But FSR Wealth Strategies, we say we exist to help make retirement the best part of your life. And, I tell this story in workshops that My son Alex, at 11 years old, goes around and tells people he can't wait until he retires. And it sounds funny, it sounds weird, but it's this point in our life that we look forward to, and you deserve to enjoy it as much as you've been looking forward to it. So I highly encourage people to make sure that that happens. So did I say that okay? I mean, I wanted you to do it, but
I would have gotten about a third of the way through that, and then I would have been stumbling and slurring words because I'm, I don't speak as well as you. Carry on.
All right. Well, let's get in here to today's topic, and this is going to be some stuff that's similar to last month's topic, but I'm going to be able to dig into it a little bit more. But today we're going to touch things with a very high level. So today we are talking about, of course, the one big, beautiful bill. This is what our President Trump calls it, one big, beautiful bill. In fact, I had it up there. This is him signing it on July 4th. Whether you like the guy or hate the guy, whether you love the bill or hate the bill, that's not what we're here to discuss today. The signing of this bill has made the bill law. And what does that mean? What that means is that we have to live with it. Good or bad, we have to live with it. What I will tell you, having dug through this for the last week and a half now, is now more than ever, this bill makes it so that those people who take advantage of it and those people who have a planner, those people who have somebody who knows how to take advantage of this bill will benefit from it. It's not just the rich. Trust me, there's a lot of really good benefits in here for the average person. But if you don't actually go out and proactively take advantage of it, it will probably not benefit you nearly as much as the people that are going out there. So I want to make sure we're preempting that. Also, I'm going to hit this today from a pretty high level. I'm going to dig into it much deeper on a webinar that I've scheduled out in 2 weeks. And the reason I put it out 2 weeks is because there's still so much to dig into on this, and I want to have the time to make sure I give you the best information I can. So if you'd like to join our webinar, it's going to be on our landing page. Dave will have it in the YouTube description below here, but it's going to be fsrwealth.com/OBBA. And I always said, OBBA isn't Big Beautiful Bill 3 B's. Where'd the A come from? But if you see it in the acronym all over the place, OBBA, it stands for One Big Beautiful Act, which, you know, if you remember the last job with Josh, I had the song, I'm Just a Bill on Capitol Hill. And it was been in my head the whole month, and now it's back in my head, so it's good.
Can I give a disclaimer here really quick for the landing page?
Yeah.
I had 37 seconds to put it together before we went live. So, no.
He did. He came in here. Dave wasn't out in this morning. He came in, and I go, Dave, I want to do a webinar. Make a form for people to sign up on.
Yeah.
That's about how it works.
Yeah, and then we had technical glitches. So no judgments when you get to the page. We just need to get your name, phone number, and email to get you signed up for the webinar. No judgments on the design, all right? We'll fix it later on. Thank you.
Now, before we kind of dig into what's on our one big beautiful bill, you have to understand our thought process here at FSR Wealth, and we have what we call the Own Your Retirement Planning process. And there's 5 components to this, and all 5 components are important, and they don't work independently of each other. They all work together. And the first one we have to look about is your income plan. Where is your money going to come from? This is where Social Security, your pension, how much money you take out your IRA, your 401k, all of that comes into play there. Investments and wealth protection. This is what you think of when you typically think of a financial advisor, because this is what most people have done their entire working years if they've worked with an advisor. It's just investments and wealth protection. And just because you're retired doesn't mean it's not important anymore, but you do think about it a little bit differently. The third one, and we're going to spend a lot of time talking about today, is tax planning and tax minimization. It is the integral part of financial planning that most people just completely ignore. And if we take a little bit of time to plan out some things, this can be very, very beneficial for you. Now, Dave, you found my giant squishy there, and you're playing with it. So I just had to point that out.
Yeah, thank you.
The fourth part and the fifth part, we're not going to spend a lot of time on today, but healthcare, long-term care, and legacy and estate planning. All 5 of these things work hand in hand. Now, today, this is going to capture these 2 here, 1 and 3, quite a bit, because there's a lot of nuances that go into this. So, again, when we're talking about this today, when we're talking about this big, beautiful bill that is now law here, I want you to think about how it impacts you as a retiree. And how you should maybe change some of the things that you're doing or continue doing here. Now, as a preemptive comment, if you are a client of ours watching this, we are already proactively doing things on your behalf to take advantage of this bill. The next time you come into our office, the next time you talk to one of your advisors, we will automatically have this taken care of for you, and we'll be happy to discuss that with you. If you're not a client of ours and you want to discuss how it impacts you, one of our advisors is happy to do that as well. Feel free to reach out to our office, 630-993-8200. Now, what did this bill do? The first big thing that this bill did is this bill made the lower tax rates permanent. Now, I showed this slide last month. If you're comparing here, this is our rates that we had in 2021 versus our rates in 2027. Now, I pulled this picture because 2021 and 2027 were kind of close together. And what you're going to see here is we used to have 15, 25, 28, 33, and we went from that to 12, 22, 24, and 32. Now, the same thing is, if we look at it here, the 28% bracket used to top out at $23,350. The
233.
Oh, I'm sorry, $233,350. Now, the 24% bracket, you go 4% less, tops out at $329. So we can save some significant taxes for a lot of people with these new rates. Now, what happened here in this new bill is they actually made these rates permanent-ish. I say ish there. These rates have become permanent to the fact that what was going to happen was the end of 2025, we were going to revert back to the old rates. Now, this fun acronyms, TCJA stands for the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That was the 2018 big bill. And then now over here on the right, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. What? That one has 3 bills.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe we're wrong.
God, there's choose as many B's as you want. Just pick a B number.
I'll have a redirect.
Have how many B's you want.
Oh, with 50 B's.
We'll be fine.
We'll get.
But they increased the rates a little bit. But these new rates are now permanent. They're now there until Congress acts to change them. They're not going to retroactively go backwards. So this is an important thing. Now, why is this an important thing? This becomes an important thing because there's a lot of money out there in IRAs and 401ks that has yet to be taxed. Dave's heard me talk about this all the time in workshops. He's tired of it. But if you take advantage of it, you can actually get that money out at those lower rates. It gives us more time and more freedom and more flexibility that's out there. Now, the other thing that it did is we got an increased standard deduction. So since 2018, when we prepare our clients' tax returns, we almost never itemized. We didn't have to worry about any of those charitable deductions. We didn't have to worry about any of those mortgage interest or property taxes or any of those fun things because the standard deduction was so big, they almost didn't matter. Now, this standard deduction was set to go back to the lower standard deduction also at the end of the year. But what they did is they made the standard deduction also permanent. So for single people, it's $15,750. For married people, they just doubled it. It's pretty easy. $31,500. Now, doesn't matter how old you are, that is the lowest deduction you will get right there. So that's a good thing. That is now permanent, and they do increase that with inflation every year. If you are over 65, you are entitled to an extra standard deduction. So if you're single, you're entitled to $2,000. If you are married and one of you was over 65, you get $2,000. If you're married and both of you are over 65, you get nicked a little bit. I don't know why, but they get nicked a little bit to $3,800. So that means a married couple, both over age 65, your standard deduction could come in there at $35,300 if I did that math right. And so what that means is your itemized deductions aren't going to matter if you're over 65 until you get over that $35,300 threshold. And, that becomes important because as people get older, generally they don't have as many deductions as a general rule of thumb. And so those bigger deductions allow us to take more money out of your 401ks, pay lower rates. It allows us to make Social Security tax-free more easily. And so there's just things that you can do if you take advantage of that standard deduction, those things that you want to make sure you do.
Will you always keep me on as your dependent throughout our entire lives together?
Here's the funny thing. There used to be a dependency thing where you had these exemptions. And this is really dorky here. And you would get like a benefit for every dependent. You get like a $1,500, $2,000 deduction. I forget what it was for every dependent. And now you don't get those anymore. Those went away. In fact, this new bill has completely wiped those away permanently. And since you're not a child, I no longer get a child credit for you. So that doesn't count anymore. So okay. Yeah, I don't care about you as a dependent anymore.
Wow, thank you.
But I'm about to get really nerdy. I've never gotten this nerdy on Java with Josh.
Hashtag, is this TaxNerd? Is it we bringing it back?
Oh, we should find that audio.
Oh, yeah. I bet you I could find it, yeah.
So when you look at your tax return, you got your income. Then you have underneath that your deductions. And we talked about standard deductions. And you are entitled to the higher of your standard deduction or your itemized deductions. So we're going to talk for the first time ever on Java with Josh, itemized deductions.
Oh, buckle up.
Get excited. All right. By the way, this is the most boring slide deck I've ever put together. It is black and white, and these are generic PowerPoint fonts. So you're gonna get really into this one here. Now, let's talk about what you can deduct from a itemized deduction standpoint. So first off, you are entitled to deduct your medical expenses that are in excess of 7.5% of your adjusted gross income. What does that mean? So let's say your adjusted gross income is $100,000. If your medical expenses are above $7,500, that's 7.5%, and the amount above $7,500, you can add in as a deduction. Now, prior to the OBBBA, OBBBA, whatever you want to call it, there was a cap on your next one. So you're also allowed to deduct your state and local taxes. So that would be your state income taxes, your property taxes. You could even deduct some sales taxes. But what happened is they capped that limit at $10,000. So if you paid $18,000 in property taxes and $5,000 into income taxes, it didn't matter. You couldn't deduct all of that because you were capped at $10,000. You're also allowed to deduct mortgage interest up to a certain limit, and you could always deduct your charitable contributions. Those were there as well. Now, there were some gambling deductions and things like that went in there as well, and those have changed. We're not going to spend too much time on that right now. But those were your itemized deductions. Let me show you how those would work. So for example here, let's say this person came in and they had an adjusted gross income of $150,000. And they had $12,000 of medical deductions. So between their Medicare and their dental bills, they paid $12,000 for the year. Well, because it was in excess of 7.5%, the only amount that they could deduct was $750. Then they had they had state income taxes of $12,500. They had property taxes of $22,000. Now, that's a $34,500 expense that they incurred. They were only allowed to deduct $10,000 of it. So that doesn't make any sense. And then their mortgage interest came in at $10,000 and their charitable contributions came in at $8,000. Now, when I add up $750, $10,000, $10,000, and $8,000, I get $28,750. That was what they would have gotten as a deduction if they itemized. But that made no sense because their standard deduction, what do we say, came in around $32,000 and change? Mm-hmm. Well, why would I take $28,750 when I could get a $32,000 standard deduction? So that's why most people took the standard deduction. Now, with the changes that this bill put in place is they did quadruple the SALT, state and local tax limitation. So that $10,000 limit is no longer there. It's now a $40,000 limit. So you can deduct up to $40,000. Now, once your income reaches a threshold of $500,000, that starts to get phased out. But up until that point, you can deduct up to $40,000 of state and local taxes. So let's look at this again here. Again, with an adjusted gross income of $150,000, they didn't change the medical. You're still only eligible for $750,000. Now, that property tax and state tax, that came to $34,500. All of that is now deductible. The mortgage interest becomes at $10,000, still deductible. Charitable contribution of $8,000. Now, you get $53,250 of deduction. So you didn't change your expenses at all. But now, all of a sudden, your deductions are much bigger. So what does that mean? Well, that means all of a sudden you're planning for deductions. We never cared about deduction planning before. There was one that before that's what we didn't care it for, but it was very rare that it applied. But now we have to make sure that we're taking your deductions into consideration as we're looking at your income. Because the bigger we can get your deductions, that means the more income we can recognize tax-free. So we want to make sure we're taking those taxes into consideration there. Does that make sense, David?
tons of sense. That SALT deduction. So if you make over 500, it's just tiered, gets less and less. At 40,000, or is it?
I didn't
cut you off?
go through a total. I think it's between 500 and 600,000. So once you cross 600,000, it's gone. It's back to 10,000. I should say.
So back to the
That was a very astute question coming out of you. Do you know that?
Well, I'm personally making about 48.2 million.
48.2.
Yeah, 48.2. So I got to kind of see where I fall in this range.
I think I'm overpaying you.
Yeah.
Now, the next thing you have to be aware of is there's still going to be a lot of people who itemize. There's a lot of people, especially in Illinois, we don't pay income taxes on our investment income or on our retirement income. So 401k, IRA distributions, Social Security, pensions aren't taxed in Illinois income tax rates. And so for a lot of people, they don't have a big state and local tax except for their property taxes. So a lot of our clients are still going to take the standard deduction as it comes into play. But their charitable now also will matter because people are going to be allowed to take charitable deductions even if they don't itemize up until $1,000 per person. So if you're single, you can take $1,000 deduction. And if you're married, you can take a $2,000 deduction. So what does that mean? That means that before the $100 a week you gave to your church or whatever it might be didn't mean anything to you because of the fact that you weren't allowed to deduct it because you were taking the standard deduction. Now it does matter to you. So those charitable planning becomes important to people. So make sure you're aware of that. Now, here, these next two slides I'm going to show you are really fun, and these are going to change a lot of things. This is brand new.
Are they tax related?
Yeah, this goes straight to the tax return.
All right, because after this, then we're going to play I found the clip, the hashtag from your son. Want to play it now?
No, I'm so excited. I want to keep going.
Okay, keep going.
And then you can do it.
I mean, do you ever see a man this excited to talk about taxes? I'm telling
you. It's like super exciting.
It's concerning.
All right, this is a deduction you are going to get just for being over age 65. This is not a standard deduction. This is not an itemized deduction. If you take the standard or you take the itemized deduction, it doesn't matter. You're still going to get this, which is unbelievable. So in a couple or a single person, anyone over age 65, you get $6,000 per person as an additional deduction. So if you have a couple over age 65, that's an additional $12,000 that you get to deduct on top of your other income that you couldn't deduct before. Now, this is kind of like free money to people. This is kind of that, oh my gosh, like that's extra money. Now, what you have to realize, and I had that on the slide there, is this phase out begins earlier. This phase out begins at $150,000. We have a lot of clients that have income well above $150,000. So this is another consideration you're going to have to make. This is kind of like that IRMA. People hate paying IRMA on their Medicare. This is another one of those things people are going to hate when they don't get this deduction that comes into play. But it still may be the right thing, but you have to weigh those pros and cons as they go through this here. So that's an important thing to make sense. Now, this next slide, I told you these two are my favorite. This one is kind of the nuts and bolts of it here. I want you to understand, for people who are over age 65, how big your deductions are going to be. For a married couple, if you're both over age 65, you both get that extra $6,000, so you get $12,000. You get your standard deduction of $31,500, and you get that extra $3,800. So before you even roll out of bed, you have $46,700 of deductions. So that means a married couple over age 65, you can have income of $46,700 and pay zero taxes for the most part on it. A single person, you can see those numbers over here, it's $23,750. So this takes tax planning to a whole new level for people. This is something that, you can see, I'm getting excited here, but this is something that you see there's going to be a lot of advances. There's a lot of things that we're going to be able to do with this. Now, those extra deductions are temporary. They're only here for a few years based on current tax law. So what we have to realize is this is one of a use it or lose it type thing. And so we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of this for people when we have the ability to. Now, what should you, hold on. Can I give the backstory to this?
Yeah. I just think it's cool to see. You have not been this excited since you realized that you got to be my roommate at basketball camp in high school.
16 years old.
Like you were like, oh my God, is that Dave Schmidt? I get to, yeah. So this is nice to see. It's been refreshing. It's been a long time since that happened.
This is one of those things that I think what we do here at FSR is special. I think we do some cool things for clients, things that other advisors can't do. And when I get to show how good we are at certain things, this is one of those things that I'm so excited for our team to meet with their clients throughout the year and meet with new people as they come in the office, because there's a lot of things that we can do. In fact, we have a tax planning software, which in our webinar that I talked about, I will be showing this tax planning software that we use for all of our clients. And we kind of do mock tax returns for them every year. And it has already incorporated much of this new bill. And we're already looking at our clients' returns. And there's things that we can do, and there's things that we can look at that are going to save them a couple $1,000 a year, which is a lot of money. And there's some really, it's a neat thing to be able to do there. So now, Dave's been looking for an audio clip. For those of you that have been fans of our podcast in the past and different stuff, I've talked about my son, Alex. In fact, I talked about him earlier. And he, when we talked a lot about taxes, and he called me a #TaxNerd.
I came up with it.
You did? Okay.
This is when you were still allowing him to listen to our podcast,
Yeah,
and he picked up on it, and he started saying in his cute little voice. So
was he like 6 years old at the point in time?
Well, was he 11 now? Yeah,
6, 7 years old.
Something
Yeah,
like that.
And I recorded him saying
You did.
#TaxNerd, and you have that recording here.
Is the sound effects up?
It's coming through. It's coming through.
Oh, is it?
#TaxNerd.
Oh, it looks sound like it.
Oh, I'm not hearing it come through here, but if you hopefully heard that
#TaxNerd.
#TaxNerd.
I think it came through somewhere.
So,
yeah. All right.
If not, Dave will put it in post somehow.
Yeah.
So,
Fancy.
but that's kind of a fun thing there. So, all right, last slide here, and this is the most important one, and this is where the webinar is going to dig into these things. But what should you be doing with this? Now, first off, like I said before, this is new. They haven't written the rules for this yet. This is just the law. The next step we have is we have to go through the rules setting that goes into play here. But you need to review everything that you're doing. This law has kind of taken, not the overarching concept, but some of the nitty gritty, and it's changed the rules that we go through here. And so it's made it the ability to not have to be as aggressive. It's made it where we could take advantage of different things. For retirees, you've heard me talk before how important withdrawal strategy is. Now's the time you might want to change that. With that increased standard deduction, with the ability to convert more money, now may be a time to revisit your withdrawal strategy. You do want to verify your tax strategy with Roth conversions. We had a lot of clients who were converting trying to get up to that first Medicare threshold of $200,000. Now, this may be the year we don't want to do that. We may want to go lower so that we get that additional $12,000 deduction. So we want to be cognizant of that as well. You do understand the charitable benefits. There's a lot of people, I tell people always, don't give to charity because of the tax benefits. But if you're going to give to charity, let's get the biggest tax benefits you possibly can. Next down here is I want everyone to review estate planning documents. I will be doing another one of these with our estate planning attorney, Jason Tunquist, who I do a lot of work with. And there's going to be some changes in regards to estate planning quite a bit. And now more than ever, this is the time to plan for your future. You heard me say this yesterday in our seminars we did out in Arlington Heights. This bill is not about the who haves and who don't have. It's the bill of who takes advantage of it and who doesn't take advantage of it. And this is the time that I want people to make sure that they do that. And so, again, I am excited. I think this is going to be a very beneficial thing to a lot of retirees. But the other thing you have to be aware of is this is also going to add a ton of debt. Those same macro principles that we've been talking about into the future, where I think tax rates are going to have to go higher, they're going to have to be more expensive, the cost of Medicare is going to go up, all of these things are going to have to change. This doesn't change it, this accelerates it. And so you want to make sure you're taking advantage of this for your own benefit, because while I'm excited about it from our clients, it's really putting you and I in a bind here. So
you're welcome.
Yeah. So this is very beneficial for retirees and soon to be retirees. For those of us in our 40s and our children in their teenage years, it's probably going to cost a lot of money for them. So we want to make sure that we're aware of that as well.
Josh, I have one concern.
Yeah, what's that?
Was anything in this one big, beautiful bill act, did they address anything about the rising cost of Arby's beef and cheddars? Again, I'm kicking back to old school podcasts. You guys, there's a few of you who listened to it back in the day.
Actually, it's probably going to go higher because I think inflation's going to go up some more, and we're going to be paying $10 for an Arby's roast beef here soon.
We had 5 for $5. Remember that back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Man, all right.
But Dave, I appreciate you humoring me and letting me talk more about taxes than I ever possibly could. I think, but
I love it.
Again, to our clients who are out there, we are already addressing this to you. We want you to know that this is not, you don't have to call in and ask about it. If you have questions, we're happy to talk to you, of course, but trust us, we are already incorporating this into your planning. If you aren't a client of ours, we'd be happy to talk to you. No pressure. We just we'd love to see if everyone can take advantage of this as best if they can. So
you usually ask me to summarize each episode, and I think this one's pretty simple. I think it's kind of put your biases aside for right now, what you think politically about.
Good or bad.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And I think it's like you were pointing out, there's some opportunities here for, like you say, pretty much everybody to save some tax dollars. So yeah, like if you don't have someone helping you now, reach out to our office. Am I right?
Yeah, and this is one of those things. I just went through some brief stuff that applied to most of our clients. If you're a business owner, there is a whole bunch of other stuff that comes into play here that we haven't even addressed yet. So.
I just have this feeling the webinar you're going to cover a lot. You're going to go deep dive on more topics, but I think we're going to have to supplement that with additional.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot.
Help.
You're going to see a lot of stuff from us right now on the OBBBA, whatever it comes in at. But it's going to be a fun thing here. So. It's fun. I appreciate people who have watched us live. Anyone who's had the ability to hit the thumbs up button for us, I appreciate it. Normally we see our friend Clayton on these things. I haven't seen him pop up here yet, so I don't know where he's at. But
I don't know where he is at either. I don't know. But yeah, like Josh said, I asked you before, if you thought this was useful, hit that thumbs up button. More people will find it on YouTube, and we will definitely be back before next month. I'm sure we'll be posting more videos on this topic on our channel. Am I right? We're going to do a cheers?
Cheers, Dave. Time? I'm really loving this drink, by the way.
Oh, it's decaf, though?
It's decaf, without a
It's
doubt.
kind of weak sauce, but we're cool. All right, big smile. Ready? All right, thanks.
Shining bright and it's going my way. Birds in the sky and I'm singing it loud. Love is all around and I'm floating away with you.